now that we got this room pretty close to done, we can use that for pumping tunes while we work. Close the door so you can hear better. So here is my next project. I'm gonna do the popcorn ceilings in this room. I'm gonna replace the fan. I'm gonna take down those curtains and put up nice blinds or whatever. I'm gonna clean up things like that where that wire comes out of the corner. All these baseboards are gonna come up. All these electrical plates that have multicolored plates and paint all over them, those are all gonna disappear and get replaced by nice white plates. This dirty multicolored rug, it's gonna get replaced by wood flooring, which will extend into the closet and into the attic door where all the monsters live. This light will get replaced by something better. I don't have a switch for it though, so not much I can do there. So I'm not running a new wire for it. I've already decided that. Shelves will probably come out. Popcorn and ceiling in here comes out. And so anyway, I thought what I would try to show, here's my little landscape sprayer that I have half filled with hot water. Actually this time is what I used. I don't know if that's gonna help or hurt, but let's see, I need to pump it up. Get some pressure here. And this next part's gonna be hard to do one-handed. Camera here. Let's see if I can lift this thing up. Lift the camera up. This thing's not closing. There we go. Sorry about that. What was I gonna do? I'm trying to lift this. So, well, this is not gonna work. Got my little wand here. Looks like War of the Worlds from the 50s. I will just spray this. Oh, see, there it goes. It's getting all nice and wet. Just gonna let it do it like in patches. Just gonna spray it back and forth. I think last time I realized I could actually do much more than I realized. And you can always come back later on and put more on. You don't want to put too much, I suppose, if you don't know what you're working with yet. Like I don't really know how many coats of this paint is on here. I also can't see what I'm videoing. But so something like that. It's starting to drip a little bit. I think that was usually a pretty good sign. Like that it's got enough stuff going on. Make sure I get the corners. Oh, I'm running out of pressure, I think. Oh no, I can't get my hose. So I'll just do that for a little while, then I'll let it sit, and then we'll try to take it off. All right, welcome back to part 2 of removing popcorn ceilings. I have now let this sit a little bit, so I'm gonna try it out. I actually did a little test spot already. I've got my trusty 6-inch joint knife. And so I think what I usually did was I would just kind of work at it a little bit, try to get it to come off. And basically, you're just trying to get like, oops, I'm not showing it, here we go. Just trying to get like an edge going. Something like that. And then what's going to happen, stuff's actually coming off pretty easy. Like that, it's easier than the other room. There's still more texture underneath this. So, yeah, it's not even like really even damp. So I'll come back a second time and get this wet again, and this stuff will come off really, really easy when it's soaked down a little bit. You just don't want to soak it down too much, because you can see pieces of the paper here. If you get the paper too wet, then the paper is going to come off. It's going to come off anyway in some spots. There's nothing you can do about that. But you can, if you be careful at it, and then it's not too bad. You can patch it. Section here of the ceiling, gotten it past the paint which wasn't really coming off like the water had any effect really. I might just try to see if I can do the whole thing and then come back and do what I'm going to do now, which is get the stuff that's underneath it wet also. At least this is basically compound, like joint compound. So you can see when it goes from dry to wet, you know, it goes from like white to less white, dark gray, whatever. I'm not a color person. But, so I'll just soak this down again. It's getting heavy in my left arm here. Give that a little soak. It's also raining down on me in the camera. It's okay. I'm trying to avoid that paper part. I'm going to try to remind myself to avoid it with the knife also. In the corners. So we'll let that sit for a second. Put the sprayer down. And then now if we get up in here and we see if hopefully this compound, yeah, see how it just comes off like that? It's nice and smooth underneath. Well, kind of, not really. It was. Just like plowing snow at this point. Just keep going down. This is where you start trying to think about what's going to happen later on when you go to sand it. Like I've got this like part right here. I think the lens is a little wet. See if I can get a picture of that. So right there it is. If I leave that like that, I'm gonna have to sand it and put more compound over it later when I come back. So I'll always try my best. It's not gonna work. Clean up my knife nicely, and where'd that spot go? There it is. Just trying to get in there, smooth it out as best I can while it's nice and easy to work with, like this. And then I'll probably even come back like a third time. Maybe not. But that's basically it. So that's now sheetrock underneath there with a little bit of compound left over. And just need to do the rest of it, then let it dry. And you're on to the next actual step 2, which would be for this room, take out the rugs, which are going to be collecting all my debris. So they will get rolled up and go to the dump.
This out.
That's it for that video. I like this. This is easy. I just did this whole side without getting the paint wet, and then came back and wet down the substrate, and it's coming out pretty nice. Same floor, just like a snowplow, except this time I get to walk along the wall. Gotta be a little more careful on the corner here. That's staying. Okay. Finished the first pass, I guess we'll call it, of removing the popcorn ceilings. So I got through the paint and I got through the texture underneath. So now we can see the sheetrock, we can see the seams and the tape and the compound that's left over. Try to leave that everywhere I could, help myself out. Or not, maybe not just leave it, but not disturb it too much. So it's getting there. I had certainly a couple spots where it got gouged. There's one right there. One right there. So things like that. There's actually some worse ones too. And this whole corner here where this angled part meets the flat part of the ceiling was very difficult. And so I'm gonna come back here and do some cleanup. See, like the tape kind of got gouged out there. And it's one real weird spot here where, like, this stuff is like paint that was on the sheetrock and not the textured stuff. And there was this one little spot where it just wouldn't come off. I'm tearing up a bunch of paper trying to get at it. And I got some nail holes and stuff that need to be kind of set those in and then fill them in later in part 2 after the smoothing. I go around I'm doing crown molding in here, so I don't care too much about the cleanliness of the corners, but it's still nice to have it nice and clean. And then obviously we'll clean up the walls and all that and get this looking a lot better. And then very soon I'll come in here with a shovel. I'll shovel up as much of the popcorn ceiling that is now on the rug, and I'll put it in garbage bags. And then I will rip up the rug, cut it into strips, and it all goes to the dump, like I said before. And then it really starts looking different, because then you got plywood floor, and that's when the fun starts, really. Then you finish up the ceiling, start putting paint on, everything changes. So, anyway, I am literally dripping in compound dust that has turned to sludge. So, I'm going to go paper towel off and then take a shower. Very long one, well-deserved one, I think. And then make some dinner, because I'm hungry, also. So anyway, we'll come back to this tomorrow night.